Hey everybody, here's a first look at the art journal page we're making today using the supplies from the Mixed Media Inspired subscription. I'm working in my Large Dilutions art journal on a page that's already gessoed, and I have several colors of Dina Wakley Media paint put out on my palette, and also several colors that I've custom mixed using the Dina Wakley Media paints. I'm picking up several colors at one time with my palette knife and then spreading it directly onto my page. And in doing this, I'm going to get a very unique coverage of paint you could not replicate in any other way. Because of this, I'm taking care to not go over the same area multiple times because I'm not wanting the colors to mix. I'm wanting them to stay exactly as they were originally mixed and placed down on the page. So I'm also, between every single swipe, wiping my palette knife off and then picking up brand new colors so they're clean and pure as I place them down on my page. The names of these colors and all the other products that I'm using in this video are listed in the description below, so check that out for more information. So as I'm finishing up covering my page, I am going to allow this plenty of time to dry as the paint is thick in some areas due to the application technique. So I'm going to let that dry for about an hour before I begin working on the next step. So I have two stamps from the Art by Marlene Little Jar stamp set. I placed them on the same stamping block, and then I'm just flipping it over so that I don't have to pick up multiple. I'm just going back and forth between these two butterfly stamps. And I'm stamping everything with archival ink, which is a permanent ink, so as I move forward with further steps, this ink will not move or shift in any way. Now I've grabbed multiple colors of Posca paint pens, which complement the background that we've created. And I'm going to color in the individual butterfly wings in all these different colors for the entire background. Now, if you don't 100% color inside the lines or you go out a little bit, don't worry about it. You could either leave it just like this, or I'm actually going to come back in with my black Posca paint pen and outline the wings once again so that the outline is perfect and black and you will not know that you actually went over the lines or covered anything up. So there's always ways to fix things if you happen to do something that you don't really like or you're unhappy with. Now that I have all the butterflies colored in and outlined, I thought they were a little bit too bold, so I wanted to push them back into the background a little bit. So I'm going in with another color of Dina Wakley Media paint on my palette knife, and I'm just going over the top of them very loosely so that it is pushing them back a little bit, but yet we still see them. And here is just another color that I also used in the background to once again just kind of have that color mixing on top. So I see the butterflies, but I don't see them, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to once again allow this to dry. So now that I have this all dry, I'm going in with another stamp from the Art by Marlene Little Jar stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it directly onto my page. Now you want to make sure you have really good contact so that it 100% transfers onto your page. If it doesn't, we don't worry about it. We can end up drawing that back in with our marker. I'm spreading out some Dilutions shimmer paint onto a piece of paper with my palette knife, and I'm getting it really, really thin because I'm going to go ahead and stamp that same mason jar stamp onto this so that I can have the top fabric part of it be another color. So this is going to go directly onto that paper after it's dry, and I'm going to cut it out. So as I mentioned before, if you don't have 100% perfect stamping, you can go back in, as I am, with my black Posca paint pen to really make sure all those stamping lines that I didn't get perfect stamping with are drawn back in and it's perfect. After that Posca paint pen is dry, I'm using a Stabilo All pencil, which is a water reactive pencil, and a wet brush to just go around the outside of the jar to really give it some highlight and shadowing around the outside so it really makes your eye want to look at the mason jar so it doesn't blend into the background as much. You could also do this with paints or watercolor pencils or really any medium would work for outlining around the jar. But again, the point is that I want the jar to stand out instead of blending into the background as it was before. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I'm happy with it, and then I'm going to allow it to dry 100% before I move on to the next steps. Next, I'm going to use those same butterfly stamps that I did earlier with archival ink and stamp them down onto some white cardstock. And then I'm going to color them in with Dina Wakley Media scribble sticks. You need a really wet paintbrush. You can take that paintbrush, apply it directly, pick up directly from the scribble stick, and then paint it down onto your image. And I'm going to do that for both of these butterflies. in pink and orange, and then allow those to dry and cut them out with my Fiskar micro snips. I'm going to glue everything down today with the Dilutions glue stick. You could use any glue for this. I'm choosing to use the glue stick because I don't want to mess with all of my black watercolor, and if I used a wet glue, it would potentially move that. So I'm using the glue stick for this page today. Now I've cut out an image from the Tim Holtz Ideology Eccentric Remnant Rubs, and I'm taking off the white backing, placing it down, and then gently going over the top of it with my remnant rub tool. You could also use the popsicle stick that is included in the package. And I'm going to go over the entire rub on until I see that it is transferred, and then I can remove the top clear protective backing and the remnant rub is in place. I'm going to do this once again with another one. So you've seen I cut it out of the sheet, I took off the white backing, placed it down on my page. Now I'm going over the top of it with my remnant rub tool. And when I see that it has started to separate from the clear top part, I just remove the clear piece and the remnant rub is in place. And I'm now moving back to gluing in my butterflies now that I have my remnant rubs down. And I know now where I want these butterflies to go to fill in more area of the mason jar. While I'm working on this, I'm thinking about what kind of quote I would want to have on my page or what I would want to use to kind of finish out the look of this page. And so I've grabbed a quote from the Dina Weekly Media typed ledger paper. I've just cut it out with my scissors and then cut it into 3 separate pieces so that it fills out more area of the page. And I'm gluing it in once again with my Dilutions glue stick. The quote I chose today says, "Enjoy every moment, every breath, every beautiful thing." I liked this one because of the way that it was written out. It really organically and naturally broke into 3 sections. So as I cut it up, it looked and fit the feel of my page. So now I'm going to outline those 3 little quote boxes with my Stabilo All pencil again that I used to create the black shadowing around the mason jar. This is just to kind of make it tie in with the rest of the page and also highlight that quote. And then I'm going to finish out with using a white Posca paint pen to create all those little dots on the top of the mason jar. And with that, my page is complete. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something to use in your own art journals. I'd love to see what you're making, so take a picture and post it on social media with hashtag ArtJournalJunction. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and also hit that subscribe button to let YouTube know you want to see more mixed media and art journaling videos in the future.